Good evening, good evening, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, and thank you for tuning in. We are live. Call a friend, call someone, let them know we are on, we are on, we are on. Lots happening this week. We have a special guest today. So excited to have you on. Join me, tap in, comment with me. So looking forward to the engagement throughout today. And hello to our amazing listener, Benev. Thank you for tuning in today. We appreciate you always tuning in. So lots going on, and we got to get ready for our guests later on. So excited. Today we're going to have Senator Prasad come and join us this evening. So very exciting, very, very exciting. Where do we start? Hopefully you are indoors enjoying the wonderful warmth of your home, because I know that there was a thunderstorm warning for some of Long Island and even some part of Queens. So just be careful out there as we move throughout this weather pattern that's been happening throughout the United States. So please be safe out there. Starting off, we will start off with, let's see, what are we going to start off with? Are we going to start with our U.S. national debt now top for $40 trillion? Yeah, let's start with that. Where the land that is paved with gold, the land that many come for refuge, is now at a bursting time that, hey, we are having some financial issues. So what has been happening? Well, first of all, we're at war. Second of all, our president decided to make all types of changes and spend. And not only him, but prior as well. So our U.S. national debt surpassed 40 trillion for the first time in history. Not 40 billion, 40 trillion. Oh, wow. The debt has more than doubled over the past decades. So it's amazing. $40 trillion. 40 trillion. Amazing. So rising spending, entitlement obligation, pandemic era borrowing, because we were borrowing here and there and this and that, interest costs have contributed significantly. Interest payment are becoming one of the federal government largest expense. So this is amazing. $40 trillion we owe as a nation. Think about that. Hey, John.
Hey,
How
Doc,
are you?
what's going on? I'm
Very
I'm
good.
sorry. I am soaked. It is terrible out here.
It is. It is. Well, we're glad you're safe, man. Just be careful on the road, because I know that
Yes,
the
yes.
tornado hit in Long Beach,
Oh,
in
really?
those areas. Yeah. So a flood warning throughout. So just be careful. Just be careful out there.
Yeah, what's going on? What's happening? What's happening tonight?
So we were discussing what we're going to have Senator Prasad on this evening. Excited
Right.
about that. But we started off with discussing our $40 trillion debt as a nation. Not 40 billion, 40 trillion.
What else is new, Doc?
But let me ask you, how is that going to impact us? Let's think
Well,
about
we
that.
all know. Well, we all know how it's going to impact us.
Mm-hmm.
The cost,
Mm-hmm.
everything else. You know how it's going to impact us. We all know that.
Yeah, but we've never in history hit 40 trillion.
Yeah, I know. Yep, I know.
Thank you, Benev. He says the U.S. is in debt and Donald Trump gets to collect billions of dollars.
Yeah, we've been in debt with budgets increasing, enhancing, but we always make it through. But at the end of we keep kicking the bucket down the road. You know, this
The
administration, the
war.
next administration. But I think we have to look at it internally. We have to look at. There's a lot of waste, fraud, and abuse that
Mm-hmm.
goes on in the federal government.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these programs, because look, take for example the situation
ICE.
in Minnesota,
Mm-hmm.
not ICE, in
No, no, no.
Minnesota,
Mm-hmm.
where that non-for-profit took all that money, billions of dollars. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
it's the impact that it has on people who are non-for-profits who are doing legitimate work. It makes it harder for them to get the necessary monies that they need to distribute to the communities to help them out so they can build back up the economic infrastructure in those communities and the economic opportunities. So that all and have you noticed lately that the federal government is doing all these arrests for these Ponzi schemes?
No, I haven't heard too many of the Ponzi
Oh
schemes.
man, definitely. One guy, $167 million. Another guy, 500 and something $1 million. This all has an impact on our economy.
Mm. Okay, because they
You
have
know,
to
what? That's one point with
investigate.
with the government, and also with the Trump administration.
Mm-hmm.
But now with the with the war in Iran,
Mm-hmm.
it has cost us a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of money.
And it'll continue to cost because it's not ending.
And the residual impact is having on the economy, meaning the price of gas and
Food.
oil, and
Mm-hmm.
those keep escalating. And people are trying to catch up, but you can't catch up.
What about the tariffs? How
The
is that
tariffs
impact?
also, the tariffs also have played a role in the prices going up. But now the issue, because of what happened in the court system, Supreme Court, now these countries are looking to recoup the tariffs that
Oh
they paid.
yes, that is true.
But then
Because it's
my point
illegal.
then is, so then what about the increase in prices that you passed along to the consumers? How do us consumers get our money back?
We're not. Wishful thinking, John.
You know
Wishful
what I'm saying?
thinking. That does not happen. Do they lower the price again? No.
No.
So the problem is we're stuck with it. Like our president said, he's not going to apologize for anything increasing. There's no apology.
Yeah, what do you expect, Doc? Everybody thinks, I always tell everybody,
Mm-hmm.
people may get mad, upset with me, but President Trump told us exactly what he's going to do, and he's doing exactly what he told us he's going to do. He told us this, you know? So, he talked about ICE. My thing with, and, this is where,
That's a waste. That's a waste. $21 million
yeah,
to
but
go and get the shot glove.
no,
It is a waste.
hold on. You know what? If it was done correctly, meaning going after, I think I think you wouldn't have no problem if you're going after those illegal immigrants who are committing violent crimes. I don't think you would have a problem with grabbing those people and sending them back. Am I
So
correct?
I have a
I'm
problem.
asking you.
No,
Hold on.
I'm going
asking.
to answer.
Okay.
Someone who committed crime. But here's the thing. No, let me finish. Because the thing is, today you could be legal and tomorrow you're illegal. Or this morning you're legal and tomorrow you're not, you're no longer legal.
But you're not answering. You're not answering my question.
If they
You're not
committed
answering
a crime,
my question.
you're talking about if they committed a crime, it's not only
Right. Doc,
immigrants.
you're not
Or
answering my.
I
See,
am
Doc.
answering
The,
a
the,
no.
no, you
I
know,
am
yeah,
answering.
Doc. Okay, so answer the question, Doc.
You said, would I have a problem if they were going after illegal immigrants who committed a crime?
Who committed? I mean, who committed violent and serious crimes?
Okay, violent and serious. No, I wouldn't have a problem with that. But the way they go about it would be a problem, depending on
Okay,
how they go about it. Because the
okay,
way that
okay.
they're going about
I
and
agree.
doing things is wrong.
I agree because the innocent people who have done nothing and low level stuff get caught up in it. And this is the problem that I have because we did not want to get involved. Some of the states did not want to get involved in the rollout. You know what I'm saying? And this is by not
Did it
getting
matter?
involved in the
Did it
roll. Yeah,
matter?
yeah, no. It did matter. It did matter. It did matter because at that point in time, you're right there in the forefront, seeing how these things are being rolled out. So they can't just, roll them out these haphazardly. That you know what I'm saying. So this is, okay, fine. If you're going to be implementing the law, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to have a law enforcement group implementing the federal government implementing the law, you're not the state and local police should not sit back and allow them to just take over. I want to be involved. I want to see if you're doing it right because
Mm-hmm.
we have a more vested interest in our communities. Federal, they don't because it's nationwide. They don't have as much as vested as your local police department, your local law enforcement group. So you're involved, you're seeing what's going on. And at that point in time, you're right there. And if they're doing stuff illegally, you know what? We object to all of this because you're doing these things illegally. We're right there on the front line with you and we see what's going on.
John, even if they were on the front line, guess what? The
But
power that they have given to ICE is not the same as
hold on one second.
regular.
Oh, I will call you right back. That's just my tenant just calling me. I have an issue with a
Not a
flood.
problem.
So, all right.
So I disagree with what John said. I'm just gonna let people know I do disagree with what John said in regards to, hey, if the federal government or the local police was active and there all alongside of ICE, it would have been different. That is not true. I fully disagree with that. I feel as though if they were there, they get a different set of rules compared to your local police officers. They don't follow the same rules. They don't wear body cameras. They don't follow the law the same way. It's, unfortunately, as we've been watching videos over and over, it's shoot, say that they attacked me, shoot, and say, oh, you try to run me over. So, and then you can't fight it. It's as though you can't fight that. That's a problem. So it's not the same across the board. I fully disagree with John wholeheartedly about that. So no, it's a free for all. You do what you want. It's like a card that you say, hey, I am ICE and I can do whatever I want. So that's why we have so many people imitating to be ICE and going out there and committing more crimes. So it is a problem. It is a problem. And I do disagree with the fact that he mentioned that, hey, if they were just going after criminals are criminals, period. It's not only illegal immigrants who are committing crimes. That's false. False, 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 false. A lot of people who are actually sitting alongside doing in government in all types of jobs are actually committing crimes. So, and some of them have to resign, unfortunately. So, I don't know. I disagree with that wholeheartedly. And when he says illegal, like I mentioned to him, you could be legal early in the morning, you could be legal the day before, and the very next, hours later, you're considered illegal. So I don't know how that's fair. That's not. Especially since on the 18th, there's more than 13 countries that's now automatically, once they took away the TPS status for them, they are automatically illegal. They have not always been illegal. They came up here legally. They were given papers. They were vetted. Somebody had to do background check in regards to that. So I get offended when people say, hey, a bunch of illegal people. No, the people who were vetted, who were given access to things, people who actually family members sign up to support them or to protect them or to help out. That's not illegal. That's somebody deciding to switch, whatever, when they feel like it, whatever way their feelings twist. So let me explain. The Trump administration has ended or moved. They ended 13 countries TPS status, and people who were here legally, they authorized for them to get deported and cancel all their work authorization. So they were paying taxes. Many were paying taxes. Many have homes. Many were going to school. They had a life. They were contributing to the United States. Some of the countries, this is not all, but I know Venezuela, Honduras, Syria, Haiti. Yesterday or the day before, I read some more countries. So there's a total of 13 countries that's now added to the list. And it's unfortunate. It's very, very unfortunate. And the message that's going out is, hey, get out. Very sad. Very, very sad. So I don't know. How do you deal with that as a society? How do you deal with that when you see injustice being done? How do you deal with that overall? So listeners, let us know. What can we do? I know there's not much we can do, but what can we do? So Afghanistan is one. Let's go down the list. I just had the list. So Afghanistan, Cameroon, Haiti, Honduras, Nepal, Nicaragua, South Sudan, Syria. These are just some of the countries that was listed as of the 18th of no longer being able to stay in the United States. So it went from legal in the morning to illegal in the afternoon. So I have a problem with that. But that's the way that this administration has been dealing with things. So immigration advocates argue that many of the affected countries remain unsafe, and that families who have lived in the United States for decades now face uncertainty. So how should the government balance humanitarian concerns with immigration enforcement? That's the question. How should they balance it? We understand that there's laws. We understand that there's rules. And many did follow the rules in regards to getting certain paperwork. But how should they go about in balancing that? And the way that they go about in dealing with these have an impact on the some of the primaries that just took place. So some of this impact what is happening. People are not happy in the way that they're going about in enforcing their immigration status, because a lot of people stood behind and said, hey, hey, immigration, we got to get rid of, we have to close the border. Okay, people aren't coming over as much as they were prior, but There's a certain way. There's a certain way that you go about in doing things. Um, and you have to care about individuals. I understand enforce your job, but the way that you do it, when you start separating a lot of the families that's been together, children from parents, as he did the first term, it's wrong. Because now you have a bunch of kids without parents. And then who's going to take care of them? So it's a vicious cycle overall. It's a very, very vicious cycle. Um, so these are some of the things. So I know that as I drove by a couple of places yesterday, throughout this week or whatever, I noticed more and more of the food pantry lines were getting longer and longer. That is a result of some of the cuts that took place, that has been taking place, and some people who are affected, the SNAP food stamp cuts that actually affect many people. So now they want work requirements were expanded to include many adults up to the age of 64. Under the change, under the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, it altered the SNAP eligibility and work requirements, which they did before. I don't understand. They did put a work requirement. Um, so it's estimated that millions of recipients have already lost benefits as the new rules take effect. So now supporters say that the reform increase accountability and encourage workforce participation. What's interesting about that is you have to have jobs ready to go in order for people to work. Now, when many of the jobs are not available and they're not reporting, a lot of people have been cut off from jobs or laid off or fired or whatever, that's not being reported. So you're not working. A lot of people lose work, don't have food. That's a system for, that is a setup for a disaster. A setup for a disaster. And what do they put as a way for people to actually help themselves? So that's the question. Are we setting up for more chaos? Or are we setting people up to help them? So, very interesting as you think about the idea behind, hey, we'll cut everything off, have them figure it out, have them, in the beginning of the administration, cut half of these people's job, and now you're no longer entitled to receiving any form of assistance. So that's troubling. Very, 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 very troubling, to say the least. So, listeners, what are some ways that us as a community can help contribute to this big mess that we're in? I hear it's a big, big, beautiful bill, but it's a big, beautiful mess. That's what it is. As we think about going back to school, school is about to start. Things are about, this is just setting up for chaos. Correct. Because when we cut people, thank you, Benev, when we cut people's jobs, when we lay people off, when we actually cut their opportunities or ability to actually feed themselves or their family, you're setting up for people to steal. And that is a problem. If we thought we had, thank you, Miss Green, if we thought we had issues before, we have to be more guarded because people are going to start shifting to survival mode at any means possible. So that's not a good situation to be in. Benev, thank you. People being cut off, how do they think they are going to react? That's the problem. What you're saying is here. As we look at some of the patterns happening, there's a lot of weather related issues that's happening, flooding that's taking place, people not being able to go to work due to weather or whatever, or they got laid off. They need to be able to take care of themselves. They need to be able to support their family. A lot of these organizations that was set up years ago to help in case of an emergency, in case of a fire, in case of this, in case of that, are no longer there. And ways that people could have sustained themselves are no longer there. So it is a big issue, and that's where we do need to come in as a community, as a village, to help each other. Let's think about the families, the 13 different countries who, hey Sharianne, how are you? Good evening, good evening, good evening. Let's think about the families who just got cut off this week as of Wednesday, the 18th. Wednesday was the 18th. To find out that the court allowed them to remove the rest of the 13 other countries that now went from being legal, being able to work, to no longer, as soon as they, a lot of companies, as soon as they mention, hey, they're no longer eligible for TPS, they fire you right away. Because if you keep people who the federal government states are illegal, then you're committing a crime. But then what are these individuals supposed to do? They went from working, being able to get their check, so now they can't get a check. And I've known several people who actually were entitled to their final check, but that did not happen. So they're not entitled to any form of food or anything. And it is chaotic. It is a problem. What can we do as a village? What can we do to support some of these families? And they're telling them, go back home, go back home. And a lot of countries are not ready to receive some of these people. They're not safe. They're not safe. So what do we do? What can we do? How can we support? And as we're moving, some students are back to school already. Some are preparing to go back to school. What do we do with our students who would be afraid to come, or the parents who would be afraid to come out now to bring their children to school? So what are the consequences to these decisions that's being made? And how will that impact? It's going to impact us more than one way. And like you said, Benev, it is setting up. It is a setup for a bigger issue where, this country is at war. Just this evening, just earlier today, they were mentioning, people you don't expect that's popping out of nowhere, that's doing all types of craziness. So it's an area where you always have to be on guard, but then putting people in situations where they're vulnerable and they have to survive. What do we do? So kudos to the churches, kudos to a lot of these organizations, nonprofit organizations, who are stepping up. And it doesn't matter what your status is. It doesn't matter where you come from, what's happening. They are feeding. They are out there in the rain, in the heat, whatever. They are there. So thank you to those organizations. If you do know of some of them, please let us know so we can share online and share with people. How can we support? Maybe we can go out and help donate. If you do have things, maybe we can donate. If there's funding that we can send their way, please do so, because things are getting more and more difficult as we get closer and closer to, as things change daily. So thank you. So that's another thing happening in this. You miss a day, you miss something. Every day is something interesting happening locally, internationally. So lots been going on. So we started off with the national debt that we have. We went on in regards to speaking about our 13 countries that have now officially been kicked off of TPS. Um, Iran will always be Iran, the back and forth war that we should have never been a part of, that we're still a part of. So it's a lot happening this week. But also, I can say a lot of great things are happening in the community. As Councilwoman Mercedes was on this week, I know that she actually had several back to school fundraisers and drive throughout. So throughout Brooklyn, um, you would have catch her at one of those different functions throughout. I know Sherry Ann had shared there was a back to school drive that happened 2 weeks ago. So constantly there's things happening in the community and we're putting out there so you all know about it. We mentioned about the food stamp, and now we're waiting on the decision as of Saturday what's going on with the US and Canada. The US and Canada. You know what I think is interesting? I think it's interesting that all of a sudden North Korea is becoming a part of the conversation again. Now I'm wondering if the whole back to North Korea is because we are out of weapons to continue this war. What do you think, listeners? What do you think in regards to now the new approach from Putin to now North Korea? What are your thoughts? Jump in, share. What are your thoughts about now the friendly, cozy relationship with North Korea? Is it because we need North Korea? And it's kind of sad for a president to threaten other countries or to start shunning other countries because they didn't jump into a war that is not their war, because he feels as though it's, that everybody should jump along because the United States is involved. What are your thoughts? Let me know. Put it in the chat. Let us know. What are your thoughts about that? What are your thoughts in regards to that? Sherry Ann, I'm glad you're doing better because I know that, just 2 weeks ago you mentioned that you had to be rescued by the firefighters. I'm glad that you're doing well. And welcome back. Welcome back. Listeners, join in. What are your thoughts? Andre,
Ooh, was
welcome back. Welcome back. What are your thoughts about North Korea and the United States? Our president jumping in, getting chummy chummy. Is it because we need them?
I didn't, I haven't followed up that part itself, but what they kind of highlight me.
Creating like now a bromance again with North Korea. Um, is it because we're out of weapons? Because they didn't want to, before they mentioned that with this war and spread thin, we're starting to lose weapons to continue the fight with Iran.
Mm, I think it seems like it's a military intention,
Hmm.
um, but it's also ah, maybe that's the case.
He
Let me
got
kind of
upset with he got upset with South Korea for not jumping into the war.
yeah. We know Trump's action. This is all Trump does his thing, strategic moves in that sense. I mean, it might seem stupid,
Mm-hmm.
but one might call it even strategic. Talk talk with someone who I kind of was annoyed with prior, and then be like a crybaby when they say no to me, but I'm also probably doing something behind closed doors. So smokes and mirrors. While everybody's focusing on my
Mm-hmm.
crybaby antics, I'm doing something else behind the closed doors.
Mm.
So I mean, this is the strategic moves. I keep thinking about the guy that we had on a couple of years ago, which we've been trying to get him back uh,
Oh, the
to come
former
on.
FBI agent.
Yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
he really highlight the fact that the public only knows so much, and so the public will be paying attention to
One thing.
one
Mm-hmm.
thing, what they really want you to pay attention to while they're doing something else, and that something else is not even a main act. The main
Mm-hmm.
act, the main act, only a few people know,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so I mean,
Like the bank this week, the announcement of the bank with the Suns being approved to open up a crypto bank.
mm, yeah, yeah. So there's a countless amount of things that excuse me, there's a countless amount of things that are happening right now in governance, and not many people realize realize it all. So yeah.
But you know what? I wonder if the election that just took, the primaries that actually took place in different states, if
Mhm.
it's a wake up call to people, to some of the Republican parties, that some of their yes, yes, yes is causing them to go, go, go. And I'm excited that many of them are getting removed.
Yeah, I mean,
Because, yeah.
I feel like with this midterm election itself, it's the predictability of it.
Mm-hmm.
um Again, you never know what can happen, but I feel like when you read a lot about US history and all, I do believe this is definitely Trump's last momentum, really. Like after midterm, yeah, I think Democrats are gonna take this. Democrats are gonna win. There's too much that have been seen. There's too much that have been endured, and I think we have enough Democrats where they're just like, yo, we cannot allow, we cannot allow, the Republicans to take hold. And I said last week too, when it came to even the financial piece itself,
Mm-hmm.
right? In midterm years, right, the 12 months following that, the stock market goes up doubly, right? So like, up to about 17% return. Of course, that's some bumps, ups and downs. And
Mm-hmm.
that's probably going to be the period where, Trump capitalize again. Saul Bennett says that the US is in debt and Trump gets to collect billions of dollars. That's because he's
Mm-hmm.
doing his investments, man. He got his financial advisor and him doing what they do for him. And so, we also have to also understand that game. It's a world game, and not for nothing too. You got Democrats doing that too. All right.
That's
Um
true.
so yeah, the midterm just gonna really show, a change of control and certainty in economic and policy movements too. So um
Yeah,
yeah.
but there's so much that's been put in place that it'll be hard to reverse some of the things that he actually put in place.
So it seems like a cyclical thing with the U.S. government, right? Because I think yes, it's definitely gonna be hard to reverse. There's a lot of people who have been at the, what do you call it, at the bottom of this, who have been hurt. I mean, enormously, right? And so we do what we can here to get the information out and then help however we can with get our political leaders to make moves, um whatever it is that we can do, inform people of the moves that they can take.
Mm-hmm.
um and we try to do that.
And
Um,
similar to what I think John was saying, but we mentioned it before, that what you have to pay attention to is that they see how far that they can go with the court system.
mhm.
And once they start removing one, they remove another, they remove another. But you notice that many of the countries that so-called automatically they reverse or they're cutting off or they're turning away are all countries where you have minority people.
Yeah,
They're not European countries.
yeah. America never really care for the people, them, the native.
Only when they need help in
Yeah,
regards to the war.
and that's why when we talk about certain things and about the unfairness of it and all that,
Hmm.
it's like I just look at them like, same language, same talk, right? America never cared, and so if America never cared, why we complain about it? We gotta make the moves. And let me restate that rather, right? 'Cause complaining has value, right? Venting has value. But if that's all you're doing, then that's the problem right there. You can't just sit down and just complain all as much as you want, and that's it. You gotta make moves, right?
It requires action.
Yeah, exactly. God help those who help themselves, right?
Hmm.
Um, you can pray as much as you want and everything, but you gotta do something too, right? So.
Remember, we spoke about financial. Many organization or having banks that actually support or creating your own bank.
Mhm.
Creating your own bank. The only what I'm thinking is, as we build, we have to remind people you cannot destroy what you build,
Yeah.
because that tends to be the downfall. As you're building and you're creating things for your community, you can't come into your community and come and destroy and rip off the companies that's being placed in order to support. That's the sad part about what I have been seeing around um, the tri-state area. A lot of companies come in. They come in, they put pharmacies in different areas. They put supermarkets in different areas. And what happened? People come in, they come and rob, they come and steal, they come and do their whole laundry thing. And you're watching grown adults, 50, 60-year-old people just like clear out rows of things um and act like it's nothing. And when these companies say, hey, I'm losing too much being here, who does it hurt? Not them. It's hurting us. It's not that. And I'm saying this because the thing is, during the time that they're shutting these things down, it's not in the dire time as it is now. So that's the problem to that. Because here it is, plenty of these pharmacies shut down, plenty of supermarkets shut down, and they can't rebound. You know, when there is a sickness or something that happened, like the shutdown with COVID that happened, a lot of companies couldn't rebound. But then when people felt that, hey, just because something, maybe I'm upset about something, or you go and protest or riot or whatever, hey, this is just my opportunity to go and get my latest gear. You're not helping yourself. You're not helping your community. You're harming your community by doing that. Because already people categorize a group of individual a certain way. They see a group of individual a certain way. So now when they go and raid or destroy companies, that, hey, you might decide, let's build for us. Let's finally build something that we could call. You can't rebound. I saw, just I think it was this week or last week. It was in Jersey.
Yeah.
A group of um, Indian people who actually created their, open up some jewelry factory and everything, set it up.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, a group of individuals pull up right in front and rob them every piece of jewelry. So it's like, who we hurting? It's unfortunate. It's
It's just
unfortunate.
it's a systematic play too, and and I think I've always think just the best way of that is people being informed, right? Because to I I want to see my neighborhood better. I want to see my neighborhood. So I'm gonna try and create something. I'm gonna try and create something wherein I I bring it where it can bring value to the community, hoping that the folks will like buy and get stuff there. But maybe I'm selling the stuff too expensive because I'm trying to get the profits. I'm trying to get enough profits where I can reinvest. And maybe the stuff, maybe where I'm at also is that a lot of people are not able to afford things and all that. Maybe you're in such a position where they're struggling and I figure like, wait a minute, if I take from you, right,
Hmm.
and I go sell it to somebody else, I might be able to make better profits, right? And you look like you're easy target. And this varies. This depends on where you go and all that. But it just highlights the important aspect of knowledge and understanding. And so even in my classroom, I talk with the students and I say, if you understand the fact that the knowledge that you have, you can also use to improve your community, where
Hmm.
people can come in, and of course, um, you do well in school, do well in your task and all that, make the school look good. Not everybody want to come to the school, and you get people moving into the neighborhood to be in the school, and they bring their business and so on and so forth. But it just comes down to just knowledge and understanding.
That's true.
If you understand how the system operates, you're able to help out your fellow brother and sister, right? You're able to help out the people in our community, people who are in need. You're able to give them what they need, so they don't have to turn to pillaging or anything of the sort. So yeah.
So that was something that we mentioned briefly earlier today. That, hey, as jobs are being eliminated, as people's food stamps are being done, cut off, it's a setup. And like Benev says, it's
Wait.
it's a vicious cycle.
Oh, wait, who said it was a setup? That's what John said.
No, 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 Benev. This is just setting up for chaos. It is a
Oh,
setup. It
yeah.
is. It's a setup for chaos. Definitely, definitely. So I don't know. It's and this is only what, August. Whew, we still got a couple
For
more
real.
months to the end of the year, so that's gonna be interesting. You know, the longer we're at all these different things, like today, the what's sad is you never know who. When you're at war, you always have to be on guard, but you never know who's doing what. Um, there's no look to say that this person is going to commit a crime or do something. So just be careful out there. It's unfortunate. Someone trying to attack the Capitol in Albany. It is a scary time. You're going to work and somebody has a focus on what they want to do based on their revenge tactic. We have nothing to do with this. But unfortunately, because we're here in the United States,
Yeah, it's part of us, really.
mhm,
The statements and the organization, my brother's keeper, my sister's keeper. You
mhm,
got to do what you must to make sure that they are okay too. I think even just people overall, we have to do what we must to make sure that others are okay,
we
right?
are our brothers and sisters
It's-
keepers. We
yeah,
truly are.
you know,
Truly are.
and you highlight the what do you call it? Uh, for like working families is the Oh, you just said it.
What, the
Kind of stuff.
TVS?
No, no, like affordability stuff that
Mm-hmm.
I think it was
Mm-hmm. Food
food
stamp?
stamp. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So like, setting up chaos and all that. So you know, we have to think like, how do we really work around that? How do we making sure that working families are good? How do we make sure that safety is a priority, so that way we don't worry about um, trying to build up our neighborhood and then worrying about that it's gonna be broken down by people in the neighborhood. Like those are the things, and as like I said, it really connects to education among other things.
Yeah.
So and our guest tonight, Senator Roxanne Prasad,
Prasad?
also
Mm-hmm.
highlight some of those solutions that we can do.
That's,
Um, you know, and I don't mind bringing her on now if she's ready. If you're
I don't
ready,
think
Senator,
mm,
just give me a thumbs up if you're ready. We definitely could bring you on now. Um, it's a thumbs up. I don't know if you're ready. Okay, she's
she
ready.
was
She's ready.
ready.
Hey.
Hey,
Hello, hello, hello. Thank you,
I'm
thank you, thank you for
so
joining
welcome.
us, and Senator
Trying to find out
Prasad.
why my name is across my face. Okay, I'm gonna move a little to the side
Yeah.
like that. Yes.
I don't know if can the camera move closer to you or
I'm gonna
But then
adjust
her
this.
face is blocked off.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
her beautiful
camera
face.
that. You
Huh,
oh
see
how
me?
did
man,
you
let
get
me
that
see
up
something.
there?
You see me?
Uh it's still up.
Okay,
Um
almost. Yes,
that's good.
almost. All
Yeah. All
right,
right, that's
we got
perfect. That's perfect. That's
All
it.
perfect.
right.
How are you doing?
How
I'm
are
doing
you?
well. How are you? Good evening, both to both of you.
Good
Good
evening, good
evening,
evening.
It's
John.
it
John
is
was
storming
on.
outside.
Oh
Did you know that?
God,
Yeah.
yes.
It is storming outside. Yes.
Oh my God, just be careful and just be safe, please. We
Oh yeah. I came on, I was listening to what you were saying about the news that broke about Albany today. You know,
yes.
I think we all heard it at the same time. We were like stunned because we have been going through various threats for the past year. And
Wow.
so, it's so people on the outside really don't understand what we've been going through. And they've been securing our offices and adding last week, well, Monday, they were here ensuring enhancing the security of the office because of the crazy things that are occurring. But it's the times that we're living in. So I'm happy that you brought that out.
Yes, and we have to start off by saying thank you for the work that you actually do in our community and throughout New York. So thank you because you're at the helms and at the forefront at making sure that you, hey, speak on our behalf, you're fighting on our behalf, and you come across all types of individuals who might not be happy, who might be happy with what you're saying, might not be happy with it, and you don't know. So because you're at the forefront, you are vulnerable. So we will definitely keep you in prayer for the work that you're doing and for your safety throughout, because it's not an easy job, but it is so necessary and you are the right person for it. So thank you so much, Senator Prasad.
You're welcome. God is great to me. So
Yes.
that was keeps me going. And you're right. Not everyone agrees. No matter what you do,
Hmm.
not everyone will agree with you.
Yeah.
And some of the people who agree with you, they'll be like, "Oh my God, you're the best thing since sliced bread today," and tomorrow they'll question everything that you're doing. So, you just have to work with it.
That is true. That is true. I know you were busy in the community this week. First of all,
Oh
please, please,
God.
please tell our listeners, because some people don't know who you are, but you have to tell them who you represent. You don't. Let me tell you. I know, but some people don't know. So I'm gonna give you the floor.
Well, again, good evening. I am Roxanne J. Prasad. I am the senator representing the 19th Senate District, and my district covers parts of Ocean Hill, Brownsville, East New York, Starrett City, City Line, Canarsie, a sliver of Bergen Beach, all the way to Floyd Bennett Field. And then I cross into Queens and cover parts of Howard Beach and Lindenwood. And so that's most of the areas that I cover. No two areas are the same. But it's a great thing. I tend to make sure I am working with all of the constituents across all of the communities because I was elected to represent them all, not just some of them. And so you're talking how busy we were on Tuesday. We had our annual Fun Day and backpack giveaway where we gave out over 600 backpacks. People are still calling us asking, "Do you have backpacks?" Well, I can't have backpacks forever.
600, and they
Yes.
still want more.
And they're still asking for more. I have good partners, who say, every year, or let's come together, and they donate backpacks to us, and everyone comes out. We tend to do, when you say a Fun Day and backpack, it is so much more that we do. We gave out diapers, we gave out groceries, food supply. The kids had fun. There's a puppet show. There are horses there. There's the NYPD Digi Dog is there. All kinds of vendors are there because we want to make sure the community is received. Has access to all of the resources that we are capable of bringing. So,
And we
we had a bio bus there. We have the library there. Your sanitation has this great trucks. These trucks that are painted so kids can see what a sanitation truck. So all of these things we do because we want to make sure many resources as possible we're bringing to the community.
And we do need that as a community, especially now with everything that's transpiring daily. There is a need for that. And where do you start? That's the part. Where do you start?
You know what? You start wherever you are, and you say, you just keep going, and you do as much as you can, and making sure that you're trying to enhance the lives of the people whom you're representing. That's what the mission is. And so you just do it. You say, okay, what is it? We see the need, and I always tell people, I said, when we see the need and we say we will offer these, we will bring these resources to you, but you're the ones who are living in it on a daily basis. You also have to tell us what your needs are, because too often someone will say, "Oh, I don't have this. Nobody brought this to us," and we're like, "Well, we're giving you things. So if you didn't tell us there's something else missing, we wouldn't know." So, but I'll turn it back to you. Yeah.
No, you know what? It made no. I love what you just said, but it brought me back to the safety issue. How, thank God they checked on you yesterday for safety, not knowing what was happening today in Albany, and now, people need to be more on guard, which is you're out in the public, but you don't know who's who. That is that. Oh my gosh.
So over the past year, like for example, I had one day a person came, he was irate, and he broke the door, right?
Wow.
Broke the door, and so the law enforcement had to come, and so they're doing things. They're because you never know, people, if they perceive things some one way or the other, and they decide they're going to come after us because we have this title of government, legislators, and they think that every single thing that they're asking for, or that's something that's happening against them. And I see John Sampson, he knows about
Yes,
this.
I just want to say I'm on, but I'm dealing with a little flood, so I got to take off.
I'm telling them that. Yeah, it's storming.
Yes. So I'm sorry, Senator, that I miss you, but I'm glad you are on with us. And Dr. Brian, please take care of my cousin. Please take care of my cousin there for me. All right.
Yes.
I apologize.
That's
all
okay.
Right.
Okay.
All right, Mom. I apologize, Mom. I apologize.
Yeah, she's always listening. She's always telling me everything you guys are doing. Yes. So
all right.
Good seeing you again. So he broke the gate, and so they had to come and fix it. They hadn't, so now we have cameras on the outside where someone coming before they come into the building, we can buzz them in if the security is no longer. When the security is not there, after the security person leaves at a certain time, and then we're still here. And then we have now at the door, only a couple of weeks now, and they came on Monday to enhance it, that we have a buzzer system with a camera at our door.
Similar to the schools now.
Exactly. So before you can come in, so we speak with you, and then we let you in. And then everybody who comes into the office, I tell people, even if my mother comes to visit the office, you have to sign in. One person last week stormed out, "I don't want to sign in." Well, you can't come into the office. We must know who's coming into the office.
Right, like the lady today. Who would have figured a woman dressed up all in attire would be who would try to set something up. That's
Yeah.
the part that's like baffling. Like, you're thinking it's a religious gear and everything or whatever, and it's a female setting this thing up. So that's the
I know
surprising part of it.
now
Yeah,
you have to look at everyone like, okay, what is this person up to? What is it? And that's not the way we should be living.
yeah,
We should be allowed to walk freely and mingle. You see us, we're always in a crowd, and now you have to always be looking like, okay, make sure this person, don't let them come too close, and that's not the way we really want to operate. At least that's not
no,
how I want to do.
no.
You saw us there with hundreds of people in the park on Tuesday, and everybody wants a picture. People want to hug, and so you have to make sure now you have to set boundaries now because
Yeah. As I'm thinking about it now, that as they're doing more and more back to school event, it's not going to be so free and open.
exactly. And last year, because we had threats last year also, and so they told us, you no longer should be putting out where you're going, right?
Oh.
So you'll see it's similar like when you go on vacation, you don't tell every broadcast that I'm going on vacation, my house is open, So you after you come back, you start posting about it. So now you see, we post after, and when we have an event, we post.
I
Some
think
events we have to post,
I think that's
and
a
then
common sense thing too, really. Like, I guess we as you mentioned just on some events, you have to post. And I'm
right.
always like, I'm not gonna tell people like, oh, about to go to this trip. Like,
But
I
here it
know some
is.
people like to
Look,
do that, but
but
I've never,
look,
I've never
that's
wanted
true.
to do it. Yeah,
Mhm.
A lot of social media people, but here's the thing with when you're doing drives, food drives, giveaways and things like
you
that.
have to
Yeah, yeah,
publicize,
you have to let people know so that they can come out.
right?
So that it's like a catch 24
It's
for
right,
everything.
exactly.
Yeah.
Because if you don't publicize it, well, no one can come out,
Right.
right?
Right. Right.
And then when you publicize, you have to be, cautious, So I'll just pop by, so if you were saying we're starting at 11 o'clock, you don't know what time I'll show up, what staff is there. But it's those kinds of things you have to do. So, but
Hmm.
it's not the ideal way to live, but it's the times that we're in.
Yeah, especially since we're at war. I think that has a lot to do with it. A lot to do with it with the war situation.
Yeah.
Um,
I have people come to my home, to demonstrate at my home. I come to up with my door, do crazy
what?
things in my yard. So,
Now
so all of
that's
those,
now
yeah,
that's
yeah. And so you're like, okay. So you're always like looking, making sure the cameras, yeah.
yeah, public office is never easy thing at all, because you're no longer a private, even though you want to be private, but the fact that they're tracing where you live is
Hmm.
scary.
Yeah.
That's I don't envy you at all. At all.
I always tell people when they're like, how do you deal with it? I'm like, I voluntarily signed up for it, so I just have to work through it and do the best that I can, and just make sure you're always cautious, and you're always aware of your surroundings. You have to be. You have to be.
So I'm going to continue on the safety. So community safety is one of your key priorities. What specific community led initiative or legislation are you championing to combat gun violence in Brooklyn neighborhoods like East New York and Brownsville, especially given that the 17-year-old
Shot. Yeah. And
died and
I said to the police, I said, it is so frustrating because
Mhm.
no matter what how much we're trying to do, the public has this perception that we're not doing enough, but it's you're dealing with humans, and no matter what you try to do, there's always going to be someone who's going to try to break the rule, right?
Mhm.
And so I sponsored the Gun Violence Research Institute, and we're working with other states to combat gun violence. I try to fund gun violence organizations so that they can be in the streets. We have, for example, in Canarsie Closer, we have enough. We have, in Bevo and all of those organizations that we're working with, that we fund to make sure that they're on the grounds. Like yesterday, my staff was out there because we have these coalitions that you come out and do on the corners. You're always doing something, but there's no society that's perfect. right?
Right.
Because people always try to do something bad, and that's what we're seeing. While we're touting, oh my gosh, violence is down, crime, and then you see a 17-year-old being shot. You saw 3 teenage girls yesterday being stabbed, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what were they doing to that person that she had to react that way?
But a
You know,
44-year-old woman, like,
exactly.
come on, come
But
on.
but somebody said something to me about one of the kids, and that's like, oh. So I'm saying, what is it that they did to the person? Because it was 3 of them that she had reacted that way. And so we have to continue coming together as communities and say, enough is enough. We continue to say, we would always say there's too much police. Well, last week people were saying, well, we need more police on the street now. Well, which is it that we really want? Right? We have to be willing to work as a community and work in partnership also with law enforcement to keep our communities safe. I've been funding programs for youth, across my district. I have the Explorer programs across all of my NYPD precincts that I fund so that we can get more youth engaged, gainfully engaged, and so that they're not on the streets. Like on Tuesday, if you saw some of my pictures, a lot of explorers from the many precincts that I represent come out to volunteer. We do activities with them on the weekends, making sure we get the kids out. We have, Day on the Water. We engage kids from the housing development, asking them to come so that they're occupied and they're seeing another side of their community.
Right.
Those are the things that I have legislation where we're talking about trying to fund year-round employment for youth. Right. So when summer youth employment is over,
Right.
how do we continue to keep them occupied? They're going to school, but then they should have something else that they're doing.
That's
and then
true.
the kids then they say to us, oh, well, that's not enough money. That's another thing. Every year we increase the amount of money that we're allotting for summer youth, but it's covering the wages that they're being paid. So we even expanded the program. So hence we're looking to do the additional programs, and then we have to look for make it public-private partnerships. So the private entities have to be willing to give back to the communities.
Yes.
And by giving back to the community, we are saying to them, can you employ some youth?
Mhm.
Right? We will take part of the burden of paying for them, but can you work with us? How many are you willing to take? It's always really break. I'm always happy when I see you come back and after summer and says the company that they work for summer youth says they'll keep them part-time for the rest of the year, and then they continue that because they saw something in that youth.
Right.
And said, you know what, we want to pour into you, and that's what we need more private partners to do.
It speaks volume. It speaks volume. I remember that one of the high schools several years ago, one high school said, I have the money, but I don't have the jobs.
Yeah.
And I literally, there was a church across the street, and I went and I spoke to the pastor. Hey, would it be okay if we start something so that, interview them so that they can actually become, members of society, like productive members of society? And they actually did. They actually did do that. And it was a great opportunity for them to actually see what skills they have, to actually showcase their strength, for the church to actually build, not only be a church in the community just on Sundays, but now
That's
you're
what
contributing to
we've
the
I'm
community.
saying that all the time about churches. I said your doors are closed.
Yes,
You
open
have to
it
be
up.
open. Let
Open
them
it
come
up.
in. They're walking by. Show them that there's something out there for them to do.
Yes.
Today I was outside and the staff came in. 2 young men came into the office and brought their resume. Right? They just moved into the community, and what they're all they're saying is like, we want to show you that's the message they left me, that they do DJing and all these. These are 2 teenage young men, right? And they wanted to make sure I know that these are the things they do. So the staff said to them, "Oh, we're having another event. Come by so you can see and speak with people, right? Because we want to make sure that our youth see that access and opportunity, that's what we want to give them.
So I have to say thank you, because you take a group of kids to Albany all the time.
Oh, yes.
Yes, so that I do know. And Principal Rogier and
Oh,
Principal
yeah.
Pembroke actually speak about that, and the kids are so excited. So we're waiting for you at PS 155, just so you know.
You know, I think every school thinks that I represent them. I have about 80 public schools, and in total about 140 schools across the district. Right? When schools will call from all over saying, "Oh, we need this. Can we do this?" And I'm like, "But I'm not your senator. You have to go to your senator first, right?" But when they come to Albany, it is always great. Like Principal Pembroke, her kids, soon as they're there, they have their election. They call, schedule their meeting, and they come and they have their questions. The new board has their questions, and they want to talk, and they suggestions and projects. And so I love it. I when I'm down in the district on Fridays, we schedule during the term, I schedule visits to schools, right? And I'll go to school for an hour and a half and meet the students, walk the school, speak to them, encourage the students, talk about projects that they can do. It's because that's what I like to do. And so, they have these competition among principals, like, oh, you've been to our school, when are you coming back to mine? I'm like, I have to go to everyone first.
So that's a good thing. Let me tell you, you're going to become Rent-A-Senator. Rent-A-Senator. That's it. That's it. Yeah. We're going to need you for that.
We encourage schools, I'm always saying, bring the kids to Albany so that they can experience what it's like. Too often in our communities, they're not doing that.
Many adults never been to Albany.
Exactly.
That's the thing. So the thing, by exposing the children to something and somewhere they've never been, they're going to continue that conversation that will motivate the parents or family members to say, what is that about? Let's go and check it out. Or let's entertain, what are you, discuss further, because many times they don't understand children are natural teachers, that they go back to go and continue what it is that they're learning. And that's how you continue to build that community outward without, you are there because you planted that seed, but then that seed continued to germinate, and then you're building outward. And that's the goal. That's the goal.
I've even done, while I'm in Albany, I said to them, you can't make it. Well, I do Zoom meetings with them. So, and then I bring my colleagues on to speak with them. So at least they can ask the question of my colleagues, like, how did you get to be where you are? Those, and the kids love to do that. And they're like, okay. Some, they start out very timid. I can really ask a question, and then when they get into it, they don't want to stop. So, yeah.
And they don't understand that skill is public speaking, building future leaders and future politicians later on. So, yeah, that's very, very important. Now, another important issue with New York City, housing affordability. I don't even know where to start with that, because even people making six figures cannot afford to live in New York City. Because when a 1-bedroom apartment is over $3,500 for a 1-bedroom, how is that when a parent has two kids? If 1 bedroom is $3,500, where are they supposed to live with? It's crazy. What are some of the work, or what are some things that's happening in Albany and throughout the district?
I think, we're always talking about affordable housing. I happen to have a district where there's a lot of new developments going up. If you've been by the Gateway Mall, it's a completely new city.
Right.
And there's more going up. If you've driven down Flatlands Avenue near CCC Church,
yes,
those 5 buildings now, and so they're opening it up. Those are going to be affordable apartments. And the issue is, when we talk about affordability, I always say affordable to whom? We have to ensure that people who live through the struggles can remain and get an apartment or a house in that same area that's now being developed, right? We have this thing called the AMI that
Mhm.
also skewers what, and people don't realize it.
Affordability
Government,
is. Mhm.
federal government sets it, and so you'll see somewhere in Dumbo being evaluated the same way as someplace in Brownsville,
Mhm.
right? And so that's what is adding to the uncertainty about affordability in our communities. And then we have people who are like, they don't care. They come in and they're like, I'll give you that $4,000.
Mhm.
But they'll come in, and 4 of them are going to stay in that 1-bedroom apartment and spend it, and they don't care. And so you have people who will be like, oh, okay, I know that's guaranteed money. But then we have to make sure when we're talking about ensuring that people are able to afford the rents or the mortgages, we fund organizations to work with homeowners, to work with tenants, to ensure that they can remain in place. But we have to make sure that the homeowners or the property owners are being made whole, because
Yes.
we have a lot of that still ongoing. We were talking last week, and a person who owes the owner of a property, and this is a 2-family house, 3 years worth of rent.
And the court system is backed up, right?
Yeah. And we've opened up the court system, to make sure things are going to be moving faster. But how can the person who owns a property has to still make sure
They pay mortgage.
they pay mortgage, they pay all the utilities.
Mhm.
You can't, if your tenant doesn't have heat, all they do is call 311,
Mhm.
and somebody's coming and giving and finding the homeowner. You can't turn off water, right?
Right.
All of these things you have to make sure. So how fair is it to a homeowner
Mhm.
that they're not being paid? And then you have people who they leave, and then what happens? You're still trying to get your money, and you're not getting
Right.
it. So it's interesting as you say that. On Saturday, we were talking with a person who had taken the tenant to court, and this was a 2-family house. The tenants agreed they were going to get this, they were going to be given the subsidy, and everything. The government was going to subsidize it and pay that, and then you have to make sure you pay the plan. And what did the tenant do? Do you know what that person did? After that was the agreement was made and all of that?
They moved out?
Exactly, and didn't sign the paperwork.
Of course not. Of course not. I have a family member going through that exact same thing, and the
It's
person
the craziest thing.
they're doing the they have a home and they have a tenant who is not paying. Everything is included, so they
Yeah.
leave the AC on all day.
AC on.
They leave the
They have
water.
the water running.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's
Leave
a
the water
vicious
running.
cycle. Like,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah.
How do you
I
do
have-
that?
I'm not far from my office. There's a property there. Again, it's 2-family house. Most of it are 2-family homes. And every time I pass, I just shake my head, because the homeowner has gotten to this point now. They have this signage up in front of the property
For
saying,
sale?
no, the tenant, how much money the tenant owes and how long they haven't paid. And so they just keep changing the
Wow.
timeline on it, just showing and saying, and I'm like, come on, you see this all every day.
Wow.
Even if everyone goes through some kind of hard times, but if you're
Yeah.
trying and you're talking with the owner and trying to your best to pay, and you're in good faith, you're doing that. But and then on top of that, you just bought a new car.
Yeah. That's the hurtful part, because the
Mhm.
thing is, that there's certain laws that protect tenants always, but you also have to protect the homeowner, because
Right.
guess what tends to happen is you'll see the people selling the house with the tenant, and they're like, we're done with this, we're
Yeah.
done with this,
Yeah.
but
And it
nobody.
becomes somebody else's headache. And so
Yeah.
we did legislation also. If your home is in foreclosure, you have to notify your tenant.
Right.
If you're going to be selling, you must notify the tenant and the timeline so that they are aware, right? Because what was happening, no one
People
knew.
are just like, yeah, we're
Yeah.
done.
We're
Just
done.
take it. We're
Take
out of
it.
here.
Oh, we're done. And then the bank is like, you got to go. Telling them, and then the tenant is like, well, I didn't know that they were selling. And so then you have this other problem. And so there are lots of things that we have to really work on. People tend to think that It's only on the landlord's end. It's not. It's on both sides.
Mm.
Are they bad landlords? Of course. Are they
Mhm.
bad tenants? Absolutely. You know, during COVID, we saw what was happening. I had a landlord who would call us all the time. His tenant, she was now working during COVID. She got laid off. But when they would call her in, you know, she knew this, and she had been a very good tenant. And when they would call her in, if she worked 2 days a week,
Mhm.
you know what she would do? And she got $20. She'll say to him, "Could you take $5?" And he would say, "No, I know, I understand what's going on." Right? He said, "No." So he would call us and say, "Could you talk to her? Tell her, I don't want to take her money. I understand what's," but she, every time she got $20, she said, "Could you hear?" She would put it up and say, "Could you take this $5?" And he appreciated that she was trying.
Yeah, yeah,
Right?
yeah.
He appreciated because she had been a tenant of his for a while, and she'd been a very good tenant. And so she was now willing to, she was not saying, "I'm going to walk away from my responsibility." She's saying to him, you know, in good faith, this is what I can do. And he really appreciated that. And he was like, "No, I don't know. Okay, you know, we'll work on it." But she's like, "No, just hold it."
Wow, 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 wow. I just
People.
love people who actually try and they work and they push the extra miles just to say, hey, you know what, I'm honest, I'm going through, so that, how could you not be a homeowner or a landlord that's willing to work with someone like that?
Right.
Of course, of course, of course. So
But
yeah.
there's still a lot we have to do. You know, in the I'm the chair of social services. There's a lot that we have to do in social services. You know, I heard you guys talking about SNAP benefits. You know, people are stealing people's SNAP benefits. You know, we're just got the authorization. We're paying nearly $7 million that we're doing the chip enhanced cards. I was at a conference a couple of weeks ago because we were asking the federal government to pay for chip enhanced cards across the country. It's only about 3 states now that are able to do the chip enhanced cards so that it can protect your SNAP benefits. Because
Right.
seniors, people would go, you know, you get your SNAP benefit, you go to the store, and by the time you do this,
Yes, it's
the money's
skimming,
gone.
right? The skimmer, right?
And so since 2021, I've been working on, you know, replacing SNAP benefits, getting the chip card, and all of these things. So, you know, we finally got funding for it, and so the company that's working, and so we're going to be rolling out the chip cards in early 2027. It's a huge undertaking.
Oh, that's
All of the
awesome.
merchants have to be able to make sure their equipment is they're equipped to take the cards. The system, the state system has to be updated, and so they're working on that. And so it's you know it's money that we could have been spending elsewhere.
Right.
That if the federal government, because that comes from them, they say, okay, we will secure the payment method, but they're not doing that, you know. And they're looking to cut SNAP benefits also. They're looking
Yeah.
to cut everything from the people most in need. And in social
Yeah.
services, you know, the first thing on the chopping block when there's a crisis is, oh, how can we cut social services? Because people have this mentality that someone receiving social services, it's because they're lazy and they just don't want to
Right.
do it. But that's
Right.
not necessarily so. You do have people who want to game the system, but the people who really are receiving these benefits are people in need.
Right.
There's who worked all their lives, and now, you know, the amount of money they're receiving, whether it's Social Security or from
And
their pension, is not enough, and so you have to supplement their
Right.
meals, you know. And so when you're trying to cut that, you're saying to them, well, you should starve. And that's basically what happens when the benefits are skimmed, because the federal government says, no, we're not replacing that money.
But they're spending 21 million on gloves to shock people.
To shock
This
people.
the priorities are so off. You know, they're firing people just because it'll make more sense to save money so that they can go and fight in a war that's not even our war. So the mentality behind this makes a lot of sense when you are harming your American people or just people in general. It don't have to be American.
Yeah.
You're harming and you're putting, we're paying a price for a war that we didn't advocate or ask for. people are getting laid off to so-called save money or get fired to save money that they are
That you never
spending to
saved, you spend it somewhere else.
beautify the White House. I'm just like, the priorities are just like,
Yeah.
it's amazing to me. It's
And the
amazing.
reflecting pool, and you have to redo it. You spent all this money, and then you have to redo it,
Yeah.
because the shoddy job is, well, that's what they usually do. But it's crazy. But in our communities, we have to make sure the people in our communities understand that they have a responsibility too. You have to make sure that you're doing the right things. Work with us to make sure when we're fighting on your behalf that you're doing the same thing, and
That's
showing
true.
people that it's what we're fighting for. It's really what the community needs. And so we had a community center that needed it's in terrible shape, and they've been asking us for the last 10 years. I think I've been working with them trying to get funding, and we finally got funding. Every year we try to get funding. The governor came and gave $2 million for that, and for another site that we have that we got $4.2 million to renovate and to make the communities better. When you enhance the living conditions of the people, you're uplifting the community.
Yes,
Right?
absolutely.
The community, the people whose lives you're working to uplift, they have to make sure that they're committed to what you're doing, right?
And
We
they
have a lot-
stay
and
and they invest in the
and they
community.
invest in the community.
Yes, and they
Because when
continue to
outsiders
create.
see that you're
Yes.
investing in your community, they think, oh, this is somewhere we should go.
It
And that's-
definitely highlights something that I'd mentioned even earlier about investing in a community, and even when it comes to even students in the particular schools too. Well, not just particular, but the schools them, right? Students do well because of the good teachers, and the good teachers will likely stay because they feel comfortable in the community. It's just this investment. You stay in the community, more ones still come in. And it just highlights also that aspect of my brothers and sisters keeper, right? So
It's great that you talked about that. And then I'll finish with this. My brother's keepers, during the height of the pandemic, I got a letter from a group of kids,
yeah.
right? The Phyllis Weekly School, from my brother's keeper. And their project was to find a solution to a problem they saw in their school, young boys. And they sent me a letter, and I'm like, okay. They wanted a laundry room and all the bells and whistles and all these things
That
they
is
wrote in
nice.
this letter.
Oh, wow.
And so I said, it's COVID. I'm in Albany. I said, I'll meet with you. And I met with them via Zoom, and I said to the principal, it's not your conversation. To the MBK advisor, it's not your conversation. This letter came to me from these students. They have to answer the questions. And I said, okay, talk to me about your project. And they went in and they did this. They had done a survey, and they knew that a number of students were not coming to school, and they did a survey trying to find out why. Many of the students were in their school were unhoused or in temporary housing. They had no place of doing the laundry. So when they had no clean uniforms, they were not coming to school. And so there was high absenteeism amongst this particular group of students. And so these students said, okay, for their project, what should we do? And their solution was, how do we get a laundry in our school?
That's good.
And then they said, okay, when we have the laundry there, can we have an additional room so while the parents are doing the laundry, students can be doing schoolwork? These are these young boys saying that. And they're like, oh, and maybe you could have a couple of games also in there. And so I said, okay.
Yeah, game room.
Asked them all these questions, and when they didn't have the answer, I said, get me the answer and send it back. And they got all the answers, and we reached out to organizations that produce washers and dryers, etc. And Lowe's Corporation says, we will work with you.
Oh, wow.
If you go to Phyllis Weekly School, you will see the state-of-the-art laundry room that they have, the facility they have.
Oh, that's
They said,
awesome.
okay,
That's good.
and they involved the students in every aspect. They brought their team from Washington, from California, and the closest Lowe's at the top was in Mill Basin. It was not part of my district because I no longer represented that area.
It's okay. You could come back. You could come back.
I know. And so they took the kids. We met, DOE and school construction. We all met with the kids, a part of it, and then they took the kids to the Lowe's store, and the kids were involved in the color paint, the pads.
Oh, wow.
every aspect. The kids were part of that, and so they came in and helped. And now they're like, how many washers and dryers do you want? I was like, well, how many can you fit in the room? So I'm not giving you a number. And so they have more than what the kids were asking for. And then Will says, we will talk with our suppliers who, because they sell detergent, laundry detergent.
Mhm.
We will talk with our suppliers about, how can they donate the detergent to the school, on like a monthly basis. And so now the school has state of the art.
Oh, that's
It
amazing.
all came because these students saw a need in their community. And they decided
Advocacy.
to act on it. And I said,
Mm.
advocacy doesn't matter your age.
Yep.
Doesn't matter
And
your
you
age.
know, they're going to continue to do that throughout their life because they
Yep.
saw how,
The
hey,
outcome.
I was heard and actually something happened based on what I heard.
Yeah.
And guess what? They're going to continue to speak that out to other people. My senator heard me and actually pushed to make it come a reality for me. So that's a powerful, powerful learning lesson for them. And thank you for listening and pushing it up, sharing that information with the other people so that it could come to life. So thank you.
This was good.
We appreciate you for
Welcome.
that.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
that's what I do.
Looking forward to having you on again too. This was good.
Yes, yes, yes.
So you
Oh my God, it's already that
No, you need to
time.
come to Albany. You need to come to Albany and broadcast from Albany. So we'll have have a roundtable discussion from Albany.
So you
Oh,
know
that'd
what?
be
We're
nice.
gonna make that happen. We definitely have to make that happen. That sounds like a must, Andre. A must.
Andre, yes.
Must
The
make that
caucus
happen.
weekend, all those students who come up for caucus weekend, I have people coming constantly just to speak with them. And it's just amazing,
So
the experience. Yeah. And then every year, there's the schools who will come, can we come again? I'm like, no, I'm taking another group, gotta make sure.
So Senator Passat, I'm gonna
That's
tell you
all.
this. This will not be your last time on the show. You have any time at all. You are welcome to come and join us, have a conversation with us because you are our senator. Yes, you are. So thank you, thank you, thank you for joining us. Now, if people want to reach out to you, please don't just stop by her office. It's not happening. We are
Not
not at
happening.
that time. Or call. How can they reach you?
So our office is located at 1222 East 96th Street. That's first thing. But you call us at 718-649-7653. That's 718-649-7653. You send an email to Prasad at nysenate.gov, or you go online to our Senate page and just go nysenate.gov, Senate and Prasad, and it will bring up the page. You'll see everything that we're doing. You see our agenda. You'll see, our events page. You'll see legislation we're working on. You see, whatever we're doing, it's on that page. And you can also send us a message via the web page also. And, students, I love to, hear
Can
from
you
students.
can you repeat address, phone number, email again?
Yes.
Sure. The address is 1222 East 96th Street, and that's Brooklyn, New York, 11236. The telephone number is 718-649-7653. The email address is Prasad, PERSAUD, at nysenate.gov. Or you can just go on our Senate webpage, nysenate.gov, and just select Senator Prasad, and it will give you all of the information that you're looking for.
All right.
Perfect. Andre's gonna share in a minute.
Yes, Andre.
Yes. There we go. Yes,
And
yes,
So
yes.
the website, so if you want to go directly to my page instead of the Senate's landing page, it would be prasad.nysenate.gov. But if you just go to nysenate.gov, it's easier, and then just select Senator Prasad, because you'll see all the senators, and then just select Senator Prasad.
All right. There we go.
Perfect.
Yep.
That
All right.
is perfect. So, ladies and gentlemen, we had our amazing Senator Prasad on. Let me tell you, she has to be back because this woman right here is busy in the community with housing, with education, with safety, with even we didn't get to touch too much about the businesses, and I know that you're working a lot with the businesses.
Mhm.
So you have to be back to come back and share with us some of the other things you're doing as well. So thank you for taking time out, for joining us. You are a family to us. So know that we're not letting
So
you
I
go.
would like to invite you to my senior resource day. So make sure you come out to that.
Oh,
So
when is it?
it's on the website.
Okay.
Yes, on the website.
Senior
Thursday,
resource. Okay,
Senior
perfect.
Resource Day. It's right there. So if you want to share that information, I will make sure I send you the flyer also. But it's on our website, and
Perfect.
it's just for. And we have hundreds of seniors who come out, and lots of resources. What it is, it's lots of resources, and as anything we do. In addition to that, we do food distribution on all kinds of things. We add whatever we want to add to it. So, and that's the next larger event that we have next month.
Okay, and that'll be
You
a
should
good
come by.
time.
You should
Yes,
come by.
definitely. Thank
Andre,
you.
you're not too young. You're not too young to come by. Don't worry. You can come by. You can come by and you can explain all of the seniors and chat with them and be like, "God, man,
Oh, he is
That's
up.
cool.
Let me tell you, with his poetry book, he definitely will.
Yeah, look out for that,
Andre.
man. Look out for
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
yes.
so, we could have you stand there and read some of your poetry to the seniors.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, we
Oh, yeah,
can
definitely.
listen. I'm gonna make sure Michelle reaches out to you on Monday.
Oh,
She's
that'd
the one
be fire.
who's in charge of that. And so, yeah, it will. Listen, and those seniors, just stay away from them because then they want to touch you. Oh my God, you're reading to them. They're like, oh my gosh, I own him. So.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
But
it's
I'll make
nice,
sure,
though.
we'll send you all the information and you can come out and do your poetry reading to the seniors.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you, Senator
Thank you
Prasad.
very
Thank
much.
you for joining us. We appreciate you, and please come back again. Thank
I definitely will. That's a
listeners.
promise.
Yes. Oh my God. Thank you. And I know John would have been here like, yes, that is my family. That is my family. So thank
Oh,
you
yes.
again.
I know that's why he's always fussing that he talks to my mother more than he talks to me. So that's okay. That's okay. That's all right. He knows what the life is like.
That's true.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, please, follow, reach out to our senator, support her because she's doing amazing work in the community. Check on our senator. Please encourage her, and she's everywhere. I know she's gonna be in the way, but
So I'm gonna do the
definitely.
I'm gonna do the breakfast. I'm gonna be there for the breakfast. I'm not.
That's
I'm not
it.
promising
That's
anything.
it. That's it.
And
That's
we have
it.
relatives visiting also, so I'm like, I'm gonna go to
Yes.
breakfast and then I come back. Yeah.
I don't blame you. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us this evening. A lot to do. Please share with your family. There's a lot of information that was given out this evening. Share, join us, and continue to meet us on the Village Radio Talk Show. Thank you for tonight. Enjoy your weekend. Be safe, and be safe in this weather.
With this
God
weather.
bless.
Have a great
Yes.
evening, everyone.
Thank
you,
you.
family.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Peace out.
Bye-bye.